Okay. So obviously, I'm not Adam Lanza. I'm not that damn crazy, but I felt like I needed to get the attention of somebody. I've been sitting here since the tragic events that transpired last week at Sandy Hook Elementary in Connecticut. I've been sitting here thinking to myself, a lot of different things, like a lot of people have. I mean, when something so terrible and tragic happens, it really invokes a lot of emotion, in a lot of different ways. You go online, you read the news, you listen to the news, particularly on like Facebook and Twitter. I mean, you really see people are very passionate, about certain things when stuff like this happens, and it becomes kind of a political forum, which is, to be honest with you, why I'm talking to you right now, because anytime that something goes wrong in our world, people decide that they need to step up and turn it into something that it's not, or they put the blame in the wrong place because it just seems like the popular idea to do. And I can't go on my Facebook or Twitter. I can't go online without seeing what I would refer to as nothing more than ignorance, to be honest with you. This whole, somebody goes in and commits this terrible, atrocious, tragic crime towards, his own mother, towards, children, and the people that, devoted their lives to protecting and educating those children. I mean, it's going to stir up a lot of emotion, okay? I mean, I am, a 6'4", nearly 300-pound man, and I cried, okay? I cried watching the news that day, and I still cry when I see, when they talk about the kids, and, I'm a father, 3 kids biologically, 2 stepkids. I have 2 kids in elementary school, one of which is 6 years old. So, I mean, this, it's very close to home for me. And, like it does for a ton of people. But, you know what, folks, the problem is that these things keep happening. I mean, they're happening in, just more and more. And, we're aiming our focus in the wrong direction to try to resolve these things. That's what my frustration comes from. I'm getting tired of getting online and, or turning on the TV or the radio. I'm tired of people talking about how we need to do, gun control laws, gun control. That's the popular thing right now, as a result of this tragic event. It's turned into, instead of us focusing on why somebody would do something like that, and why, in our country, the numbers of people doing things like that are increasing, instead of worrying about that, everybody's just worrying about what they used to do it with. I mean, come on, folks. Are we that dumb? All right? People are going to do shit. They're going to do it in whatever, they're going to find a way to do it, okay? I mean, this gun control shit is stupid. I'm sorry. There's gazillion guns in this world, all right? And there's no set of laws. There's nothing that anybody's ever going to do that's going to make them go away. We need to get real here. We have to get real. It's not going to happen, all right? So can we just focus on what is really going on here? Really. Now, first, let me tell you something. I am not pro-gun, okay? I would never own a gun, personally. Not at all. I wouldn't. And there's a lot of reasons. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But, no. Don't confuse me with somebody that is, pro-gun. I would never go out. I would never tell people everybody needs to own a gun and everybody should, get a gun to protect themselves and all that shit. No, that's not me, man. Honestly. That's not. I respect people's right to be able to protect themselves and their families in whatever means they feel necessary. But definitely, I'm not pro-gun by any means, and I'm not pro, gun control necessarily. I mean, I think there's a lot more people could do, like maybe fucking take the shit off Craigslist. You know what I mean? Like, you know, quit making it so easy to obtain, you know, guns. Maybe that would help a little bit, but again, that's not the problem, and that's what we need to realize as citizens of the United States of America, as people, as parents, as whatever. We need to focus on the mentality of the people that are doing this stuff. All right. Now, let me tell you something about me. I am a diagnosed bipolar individual. I have a mental illness that is diagnosed and is extreme enough to the point where the government at one point classified me as a disabled person. Okay, I could collect a check every month because of my mental illness. So I'm very familiar with mental illness and the thoughts that go along with that. You know, I grew up, you know, as a kid with a lot of problems, and I came very close to being one of these, you know, one of these people that commit these terrible things. I came very close. I'm not going to lie. At one point, I had access to firearms. I hated the world. And this was when I was, you know, 12, 13 years old. But, I mean, I had, I could have done the things that have taken place. And I'll tell you what stopped that from happening. And what we all need to be looking at is the fact that, you know, I was fortunate enough, a lot of people wouldn't consider it fortunate, but I was fortunate enough to come from a rather long line of mentally ill individuals, you know, and so my family was very familiar with mental health, to the point where when I began to, you know, exhibit symptoms, you know, of things that, you know, my mom was able to see and recognize. She knew that I needed help, and, you know, I thank God for her every day, and I think the world should too, that she got me the help I needed when I was a kid, because it prevented stuff, you know, so bad and tragic from happening. And, you know, I mean, take it from somebody who has ups and downs, somebody who's had thoughts of, you know, suicide as a result of my mental illness, somebody who at times is not a big fan of the world and society. You know, I don't ever think about hurting anybody, you know, anymore, but I did as a kid. You know, that's my point. You know, that there are all these people that do this shit, you know, number one, they're young, okay? They're young, and whatever it is that's causing them to do this is something in their head that's not properly addressed, and it needs to be. I mean, it just has to be. People need to get access to mental health care. How about that? You know, I don't want to make this like an hour-long video. You know, I just need to get this shit off my chest. But no, seriously, the problem is not gun control. All right, let's quit acting like fucking morons. Excuse my language, but seriously, quit with the moron bullshit. Guns aren't going away. All right, we need to offer mental health care to people. Okay, now let me tell you something. All right, now as I mentioned, I got a total of 5 kids. All right, which makes, you know, which at times makes it difficult to, you know, I don't know, survive, so to speak. Not survive, but I mean, you know, we're just average folks. You know, we don't have a shit ton of money. You know, we live paycheck to paycheck. We're your average American family. And, you know, I'll tell you what, like right now, my job, I get 4 hours a week. 4 hours a week. So you know what? I have government insurance. I have Medicaid. And so do my kids. All right? Now, let me tell you something. If I want to make an appointment with a therapist, okay, now I haven't seen a therapist in years, to be honest with you, but I've attempted to. And where I live, each and every time I've attempted to make an appointment with a therapist, let me tell you what happens. First of all, having government insurance, wow, it's ridiculous. Okay, you got to go online. They get this giant database of doctors that accept Medicaid, but they don't say if they accept adult Medicaid or kid Medicaid. Then, you know, you got to sort out which ones provide mental health, and then, you know, at that point, then you've got to call around and find out which ones take adult Medicaid, which ones, you know, are accepting new patients, because very few accept adult Medicaid. And you know what, when you do eventually find one, the last one I ever found, what they want to do is set me up an appointment for about 2 to 3 months out, is what it was, that I'd have to wait. And that wasn't even to talk to somebody. That was to go in, fill out paperwork about why I wanted to talk to somebody. And that's pretty damn common. I mean, that's really a common thing that's going on. And that's bullshit. I mean, come on now. Seriously. Somebody actively seeking assistance. Somebody that wants to talk to somebody because maybe, you know, maybe I was going through a tough time. You know? I mean, and the truth of the matter is the last time I was looking for someone to talk to, I was very low on life. I didn't have a job. I had lost my job. You know, bills were piling up. I felt useless, worthless. I am, you know, I am bipolar. I mean, I honestly was contemplating suicide. That's the truth. All right? Never contemplate hurting anybody else, but myself, you know. And I wanted to talk to somebody, and I couldn't. And, you know, and that is what the problem is. That's what the problem is. You know, I'm not the only person that experiences that. It's not easy to get mental health, all right? I guarantee you, if I wanted to, right now, I could get online, and I could go, you know, I could do a lot of different things, but by the end of the day, I could have a gun. I could. You know, I wouldn't, because I'm smart enough to know that I'm a mentally ill person, and that me having a gun is not a smart thing. You know, I would never hurt anybody else, you know, but because I, you know, have at times in the course of my life, you know, felt low enough to harm myself. If I had a gun, my kids probably wouldn't have a dad right now, you know. So, you know, but my point, I would never own a gun, but it's a million times easier to get a weapon than it is to get help when you need it, when you just want somebody to talk to. And that is what the problem is. That's what we need to focus on, is getting people the help they need when they need it, you know. I mean, we're still getting the facts about what happened with, you know, Adam Lanza and why he did what he did, and we may never even fully understand why he did what he did, but we do understand and we do know that he had mental problems, you know. And we know, we don't know who yet, but we will know, you know, eventually I'm sure we will know. Somebody failed him, all right, which in turn ended up failing all those people that got killed, you know. Either his mom knew, people that they've talked to, his mom knew that he had mental issues, so either she failed, we'll find out, maybe she didn't get him the help that he needed, you know, or maybe she tried to and the system failed. You know, I know when every time I try to get help or talk to somebody, the system fails. I mean, that's it, because the system is not designed to help people. It's not at all designed to help people, you know. And so, you know, somebody failed, and it was in a mental way. And that's why tragedies like this happen. Because our mentality is everything. It's what runs our brain. It's who we are. It's how we operate. It's our mind. You know, it's our soul, quote unquote. I mean, our mind is top priority. It's what drives the people to do the things they do, for whatever reason that they do it. You know, and people focusing on, you know, gun control that's not the answer. You know, okay? I mean, people should very well have the right to protect and defend themselves and their families if need be. But but no matter who would want to, nobody's ever going to be able to take all the guns away. Nobody ever. And it's an unreasonable thing to be pushing. I mean, honestly, you know, we need to push mental health care. That's it. You know, help people, because we live in a cruel world. We live in a messed up world. We live in a mean world. and it's easier for people to be mean to each other. It's easier for people to feel more isolated, you know, because we have so much access to one another and all these social networking sites, and and somebody, could be on there but not have very many friends, or I mean, there's a variety of different things, but it's a tougher world than it was when a lot of us were kids. It's a lot easier for people to not enjoy the world. We live in a very selfish world. People, especially on social network sites, nobody gives a shit about anybody else. They just want to post, their neato little vacation pictures and how great their life is and blah, 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 blah. Nobody really cares about anybody else, for the most part. So it's getting so much easier for people to not like themselves, to not like the world. And, we need to focus on this stuff. We need to focus on this, all right? Because if somebody's going to get to that point where they feel so hopeless and they just feel like they can't handle it anymore, or they just want to punish the rest of the world for the pain they're feeling, I mean, we need to get to the bottom of that. Seriously, we need to get to the bottom of that. We need to help people, We do. We need to make it easier. That's all. I mean, I could go on all day. I'm not gonna lie. And this is one long ass video as it is. I'm just so frustrated, folks. That's all. I'm so incredibly frustrated, and I can't handle much more. No, I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean, I can't keep hearing stupid people talk about gun control. I mean, it's really just avoiding what the real issue is. And the real issue is we need to take care of each other. And we need to find ways to take care of each other. And we need to find ways to give people the ability to take care of themselves. And we need to pay better attention to each other and the people that are in our lives. We need to quit caring so damn much about ourselves, and look at the guy next to us, Does he look down? Just be like, hey, what's going on, bud? You need someone to talk to? I mean, we need to reach out to people. We need to be better people. Alright? That's why this shit keeps happening, is because the world that we're in, particularly in the United States, we're just selfish assholes. We are. And things like this will continue to happen because we let them happen, because we treat each other so shitty. I mean, that's what it is. We treat each other like shit. So of course people are gonna feel like shit, and they're gonna get to a point because nobody will fucking treat them right. Nobody will talk to them properly. It's something that I think that we can all fix, if we're just good to one another. And we if you want to pass some laws, work out some more of that healthcare shit. Honestly, I don't fully understand the Obamacare thing, to be honest with you. But let's offer mental health care, man. Free mental health care, regardless of insurance. If somebody needs someone to talk to and somebody wants, I mean, let them, okay? All right. Don't restrict people because of their insurance status or whatever. I mean, let's help each other. Let's find ways to help each other instead of directing everything that's not right, towards guns. Honestly, like I said, I don't promote the use of guns. I never will. And actually, I'm not even legally allowed to own a gun, based on a misdemeanor offense I committed in my 20s. So I couldn't, legally own a gun anyway. But I mean, I wouldn't own a gun. And but let's not put the blame on the gun, alright? Because the gun was just the means, you know what I'm saying? Somebody will kill somebody with a spoon if they want to. I mean, when people feel that low and that hopeless, they're going to do stuff, alright? And we can fix each other, we can help each other. But let's not take away from the people that are responsible, that can handle these types of things. Don't take away their guns, because you never will be able to. So let's not waste our time and energy on all that shit. So you know what? I think I've ranted more than enough for the day. Certainly contact me with any questions you have. Let's chat. Let's chat. All right. I'd be more than happy to enlighten anybody on what it's like to be a mentally ill individual in a tough world that doesn't care. And I'd be more than happy to enlighten people on what really happens when you attempt to get help. Yeah, I mean, by any means, email me. You can email me at broadhorizon2012@gmail. Hit me up here, whatever. I mean, I'm available because there's more of us that need to be coming out. All right, more of us, the ones that do have, these diagnosed mental illnesses, the ones that have been there, especially ones like me who have gotten the help that they needed. And know what it takes to actually prevent these types of tragedies from happening long before they take place. By any means, talk to me. And let's talk to each other. Let's be good to each other. Let's take care of one another. All right? And if you see somebody that's down, see somebody having a hard time, I mean, ask them how they're doing. For God's sakes, what does it hurt to just be a good, nice person, really? Worry less about yourself and worry about somebody else. And we can really put a dent in these things. We can really lower, if not stop, these things from happening if we just give a shit about each other. So let's work on that, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for the conversation.